After Christmas dinner, I noticed my card had been charged for all the gifts. Dad casually said, "We voted. Since you don't have kids, you should pay for the gifts for the ones who do." I was in shock, shaking as I grabbed my phone and said, "You're going to love what comes next." He laughed it off. The next day, my phone blew up with 53 missed calls. My cousins were yelling, Mom was begging, and Dad was asking me to stop. But I just said, "You've got to be kidding me." I was frozen, sitting there, checking my phone under the table. At first, I thought it was a mistake, a $13,642 charge on my card. Then I saw the list: stores, toy shops, online gifts, everything was there. "Who did this?" I asked quietly. Dad looked up from his wine, like it wasn't a big deal. "We voted," he said. "Since you don't have kids, we thought you should pay for the gifts for the little ones." I stared at him, then at Mom, who quickly looked away. My sister kept drinking her wine while her kids opened the presents I'd apparently paid for. My cousin Jeff shrugged, guilty but silent. "You used my card without asking," I said. "You just decided I'd pay for everything because I'm single? You always say you don't mind helping." Mom muttered. "Helping?" I said, almost laughing. "Helping is offering, not planning behind my back." "Don't get upset," Dad said, shrugging. "It's just money, you have plenty." I looked around at the table, 12 people, half of whom hadn't talked to me all year unless they needed something, and now they all decided I should pay for their holiday just because I didn't have kids. "You're unbelievable," I said, standing up. "Sit down." My cousin snapped. "Don't ruin the mood. The kids are having a good time." "Oh, don't worry," I said, pulling out my phone. "I'm not going to ruin the mood. I'm going to end the show." "What's that supposed to mean?" Dad asked, amused. I met his eyes. "It means you're going to love what comes next." He laughed. He thought I was bluffing. He didn't laugh the next day. My phone exploded, 53 missed calls, cousins yelling, Mom begging, and Dad asking me to stop. But I'd already sent it, and there was no turning back. You don't realize your family sees you as a wallet slowly. It's like a leak under the floorboards, and you only notice when it's all fallen apart. It started years ago. After college, I got a steady job in tech. My sister had a baby and moved back home. My cousin dropped out of grad school. For 7 years, my parents said it was just a rough patch for everyone, and I was the one who had it all together. "You're doing well, you don't need much," Mom would say. "You're lucky, you should share that luck." My aunt said the same thing when she took rent money from me for her son. At first, it was small: school supplies, gas money, contributing to gifts I never agreed to. But then it became constant. When my brother lost his job, I paid his rent for 6 months. When my cousin wanted to start a business, I covered her fees and bought her first batch of inventory. She sold 2 things and never mentioned it again. When Uncle Greg had a health scare and no insurance, I paid the bill. I didn't complain at first. I told myself, this is what families do. But families don't hand you a knife and thank you for the bleeding. They bled me dry, and I let them. The worst part? They acted like they were doing me a favor. "You get to feel good about helping. Your name's on the group card. That's special. Don't be so uptight. We're family." No one ever said thank you. Not once. It wasn't just money, it was time, energy, and emotions. I was the babysitter, the emergency contact, the "someone needs help" guy. When I had the flu one Christmas Eve, I texted my mom to say I couldn't come. She replied, "Okay, but can you still send the gifts? The kids are counting on you." I remember sitting on the bathroom floor, sick with fever, thinking, why do they only remember I exist when there's a bill attached? But the moment it really clicked was 3 months before that Christmas dinner. I had taken my niece to a bookstore and let her pick whatever she wanted. $50 later, she had toys and books. She was thrilled. I was happy, until I dropped her off. "Where's Slumpy from?" my sister asked. I smiled. I let her pick it out. My sister frowned. "You're spoiling her. You think you're the fun uncle just because you have money?" I blinked. "What?" She scoffed. "Maybe spend less on toys and more on a personality." It hit me hard. I just spent my weekend with her, time I could have used for myself, and instead of thanks, I got mocked. That's when I realized the truth. They weren't family, they were takers, and I had been letting them take. Then came December. Christmas plans started popping up in the family group chat, and as usual, I was expected to host again, buy gifts for all the kids, and be Santa with a credit card. I was ready to say no this time, but then my dad texted me personally, "You're really good at this stuff. Why don't you handle all the gifts again? We'll settle up later." I never got paid back for the last couple of years, so I replied, cold and short, "Only if we agree in advance who's paying." He left me on read for 3 weeks. I thought maybe they got the message. I was wrong. They used my backup card instead, the one I had given my mom years ago, just in case. She still had the number and apparently shared it. The statement showed charges from 5 different stores, none of which were near her. She bought nothing, they bought everything. When I brought it up at dinner, they laughed. Dad said, We voted. You don't have kids, so you should pay for the ones who do. Like it was fair, like it was a democracy, like I didn't have the right to say no. Right then, I realized they truly believed it. They thought I was here to lighten their load. That being child-free meant I owed a debt to those with families. That my life, my peace, my time, my finances didn't matter as much as theirs. And when I stood up and told them they were going to love what comes next, they didn't flinch. Dad laughed because, in their eyes, I was bluffing, always had been. I barely slept that night, not from guilt, but because something had clicked in my mind. I lay awake, replaying every insult, every expectation they had, every time they made me feel less for not having kids. Somehow, they thought that made them superior, noble, and me disposable. But as the sun rose, something changed. The hesitation drained out of me, and what replaced it wasn't just anger, it was clarity. They wanted to treat this like a democracy? Fine, let's talk about democracy. So I opened my laptop and typed. Subject line, holiday contribution changes. Body, effective immediately. I'm stepping away from all financial support related to our extended family. This includes Christmas gifts, birthday gifts for minors or adults, school tuition contributions, mortgage assistance, emergency Venmos, bailouts for unexpected vet bills, car repairs, or Disney Plus subscriptions. If you've already spent money using my cards, expect a chargeback. If you've saved my information or shared it without my consent, expect legal contact. You voted. I'm voting back. Merry Christmas, the childless one. Then I hit send, to everyone in that group chat, my parents, my sister, all 6 cousins, my aunt who still thinks I owe her for babysitting me when I was 4. And then I turned off my phone. It took them exactly 7 hours and 16 minutes to break. When I turned my phone back on, it exploded. 53 missed calls, dozens of texts, voicemails from sobbing relatives, cousins threatening to sue me for emotional damage, a message from my mom that started with, "I'm heartbroken," and ended with, "This is beyond disappointing." Dad called me 12 times. His last voicemail was just one sentence, "Please, for the love of God, don't do this." But it was already done. By the time they realized what I meant by chargeback, I'd already spoken to my bank. The fraud claim had been approved. Over $3,600 in unauthorized spending was flagged. Those Barbie dream houses and Nerf sniper rifles? On hold. The Christmas iPads and gift boxes? Returned. And the cherry on top? I froze the emergency card. So when my cousin Sarah tried to use it for a hotel reservation later that night, it was declined, twice. The fallout was nuclear. The next day, I got a call from my uncle. He was one of the few who never asked me for money, but he also never spoke up when others did. His voice was soft, full of shame. "Your mom's crying. She says you ruined Christmas." I didn't feel bad. "No," I said, "they ruined it when they made it all about money. They were just overwhelmed." He replied. "No." I cut him off. "They were entitled. There's a difference." He stayed quiet. "Are you really charging them back?" he asked. "I already did." He sighed. "Well, I can't say they didn't deserve it." Then he hung up. That was the last normal conversation I had for days. The real confrontation came 3 days later. I came home from work to find my parents and my sister Mary on my porch. Mary had her arms crossed, her face twisted like she had just tasted something sour. "Can we talk?" my mom asked, her voice shaking. I opened the door. "Say what you came to say," I replied. "We didn't mean for it to happen like this," she said quickly. "We just thought." "What, that I'd shut up and pay for everything again?" I interrupted. "That I'd just smile and say, sure, steal from me, but let's do it with Christmas cheer?" Dad stepped in. "Son, let's not turn this into a fight. We're family." I laughed, loud. "You declared war when you used my card without asking and called it a vote. That wasn't family, that was betrayal." Mary rolled her eyes. "Are you still on about that? You're acting like we stole your life savings." "I paid for your car last summer," I yelled, "because you couldn't drive with a cracked windshield. You promised you'd pay me back." She snorted. "You make good money, you'll be fine." "And that," I said, stepping closer, "is why this ends now. You treat me like I'm just a wallet that shows up with casseroles." Mom's eyes filled with tears. "We were just trying to give the kids a good Christmas." "So, you steal from me to do that?" I snapped. Dad stepped forward. "Enough, this has gone too far. You need to fix this, undo the chargebacks now." I said nothing. He tried again. "Think about how this looks," he said darkly. "What do you want people to say, that you ruined Christmas over a few toys?" I didn't blink. "No," I said, "I want people to say I finally grew a spine." Then I said the one sentence that made my mom gasp, Mary scream, and my dad go pale. "I'm done with all of you. I've already blocked your numbers, and I'm moving to another state this weekend, alone." The silence was perfect. I opened the door and said, Now get off my porch. For the next 2 days, there was no contact, and it was peaceful. No calls, no guilt trips, no messages pretending to care. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I was free from their constant demands. But by day 3, they started their usual game, manipulation. Maybe we should talk like adults. Your mom's been so stressed. You happy now? The kids are asking why Uncle Ghost isn't calling anymore. I saw the messages but didn't reply. I knew they didn't miss me, they missed what I gave them. Then, unexpectedly, my cousin Thomas reached out. I messed up, can we talk? I didn't respond. An hour later, he showed up at my door, looking different. He was clean, wearing a blazer, and even had a watch. He looked like he was trying to act like the responsible guy. I've enrolled in online courses, he said, trying to get my life together. I stayed quiet. I was jealous of you, he admitted after a pause. You had a life without the chaos, without kids, and I hated that. I raised an eyebrow. Are you here for money? No, he said quickly. I came to say I'm not your shadow anymore. For a second, I believed him, but then, 30 minutes later, I got an alert from my bank. Someone was trying to reset my account details. Guess who? Thomas. He hadn't changed. He was pretending to apologize, but really, he was just testing if I'd still fall for it. I locked down my account again and froze the backup card. That was the last time anyone from my family tried to get close to me. Then came freedom. I moved to another state, got a better job, and found a new apartment. The best part wasn't the job or the fresh start, it was a message from Lisa, Thomas's now ex-wife. I saw what he did. I'm getting a divorce, and thank you. You were the only one who ever actually helped. That message hit me harder than I expected. Lisa had known everything but stayed quiet. Now, by choosing myself, I had given her the courage to do the same. Before I left town, I sent one last message in the family group chat. I renamed it. This bank is permanently closed. Try loving instead. Then I left the chat. As I drove away, my car packed with boxes and music blasting through the windows, I smiled. For the first time, being alone didn't feel like punishment, it felt like freedom. It's funny how quiet everything gets when you stop listening to people who never really listen to you. After changing my number and cutting off contact, the silence wasn't lonely, it was peace. No more texts asking me to pay bills, no more guilt trips, no more calls when they needed something. They were gone, and I had freed myself from their manipulation. I found a new apartment. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. I made the rules, and my fridge was filled with food I liked. The first night, I turned my phone on Do Not Disturb, not because I expected calls, but because I finally knew there wouldn't be any. There's a kind of healing in silence, not having to explain yourself, not defending your boundaries, not wondering if you're being too harsh. No, you're not being harsh, you're being free. They tried to reach out, new numbers, blocked contacts, even a burner Instagram account, but it didn't work. I laughed when I saw the messages, because they missed the point. The point was, I was done, and they wouldn't cross my boundaries again. I started therapy and talked about everything. My therapist didn't blink, she just nodded and said, "You were taught that love must be earned through sacrifice." It hit me hard because it was true. My family had made me feel like I wasn't worth anything unless I gave something up, unless I paid, unless I sacrificed. That's not love, that's control. When people ask me now, do you regret cutting them off? No, not at all. I regret not doing it sooner. I regret every birthday I paid for without even being invited. I regret canceling my plans to cover someone's bills. I regret being the one who remembered every birthday while they forgot mine. I regret being the selfish one. I don't even flinch when I think about them. They made their choice when they saw me as useful, not loved. They voted, and I voted back. Unanimous cutoff. But here's the twist they didn't expect. I'm doing better than I ever did when I was their emotional and financial prisoner. I got promoted. I started traveling. I'm dating someone who doesn't ask me for anything except honesty. I'm rediscovering hobbies I gave up. I adopted a dog and named her Balance. She's loyal, quiet, and doesn't expect anything from me except love, which is more than I can say about most of my relatives. And just when I thought the story was over, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "He's out. We're getting divorced. I wanted you to know." It was Lisa, Thomas's ex-wife. She finally left him. Apparently, he spiraled and tried using my old bank info again. "You were the only one who ever saw it clearly," she said. "I didn't believe you before, I do now." And that's when it really hit me. This wasn't just about cutting them off. It was about refusing to carry their delusions anymore. Sometimes, when you walk away, you don't just save yourself, you give someone else the courage to see the truth. I didn't lose a family, I freed myself from a scam. So when people ask, "What happened with your family?" I smile and say, "I used to be the one who paid for Christmas, now I'm the one who saved myself from it."